Okay, thanks guys. We have seen a lot of several different results until now, and like I said at the end of my first part, I will take care now a little bit about the results and documentation of the results. So I will give you some tips and tricks about the printout report and how I can get the results into a printout report. Therefore, I will use the end state of the example which I've done today before the lunch break, and I will show you some topics about the printout report, and I will do this on this concrete example, but it's also interesting for you if you are dealing just with steel structures in add-on RF steel surfaces, or if you're using the concrete add-ons, timber add-ons for laminate, for example. So these tips which I will show you are basically the same in all add-on modules. The difference to the example from today morning is here in this structure only that I have introduced here guidelines. You see them here with this numbering. So the first tip is use guidelines in your structure to get a better overview of your structure, and this can be also quite handy for documentation. So if you want to assign help and guidelines in your structure, then you can find them in your data navigator here under the guide objects, and there you find the guidelines, and that is what I've done here. I have introduced these guidelines, and in these guidelines you can also activate here this description. That is, for example, for this guideline, and the lengths of these guidelines, they they depending on the grid points. So if I activate here this grid points, you see here that the number of grid points was changed too. So that can be done or edited via this grid. And you could, one option would be that you set here a dynamic size of this grid, or you can also define a number of grid points in plus and minus, or X and Y direction. And that is what I've done here. And with this size of this grid, you can also modify or influence the length of these guidelines. So that is the only changing or difference to the file from today morning. And with this result, I want to, or with this date, I want to create a new printout report, and therefore I'm switching to the data navigator once again. And there you find the printout report. And if you create a new printout report, then you can, before you hit here the OK button, you can press this button here for a selection of the contents for the printout report. And you could, of course, create several printout reports for several topics of your structure. For example, one printout report just for the structure, for the documentation of dimensions and so on, for the loading, for the results of the static analysis. And you could also create individual printout report just for the concrete design results. And that is what I want to do today. So before I'm creating a new printout report, I'm editing the context of this new printout report, and I switch off all results from RFEM. And then I select here these add-on RF concrete surfaces. And in this report, I want to have just the results of this concrete case here. So I deactivate the input data and I want just to have the results here from the RF Concrete Surfaces add-on. I confirm this selection, and then I change the description of this printout report into concrete design add-on, and then results. Okay, I confirm this. And what we now get is just a short printout report with 4 pages, and we've got only tables here. So we can fill this printout report now with pictures. Therefore, I close it once again. And now I can organize here my graphical window and print basically the view on this graphical window into my printout report. So the first step would be that I change the view into the global Z direction. Looks like this. And then I have here the graphical overview, the scale of the results, also in context with this result panel here. And what would be also important or required in my eyes, that would be the overview of the exact result values. So to get result values here, we are going to the result navigator. And at the end of the result navigator, you can activate here values on surfaces. If you do so, you run into a problem maybe on your structure, but you see it here in my case. It's obviously that we are running into a problem because on this part here of this on this bigger slab, these result values are predefined, so I can read them. But here in these parts, we have a problem that they are the distance between the individual result values is too small, so they are laying over each other and we cannot read them. So in this case, I would create a printout report always for the individual parts here. For example, for this part in the axis A1, and that is the point where these mentioned guidelines are very handy, because now I know if I just would create a printout report for this surface, then I would know with the axis A and 1 where these results are located. So use these guidelines also if you create detailed pictures of your structure. In my case, I want to create at first a graphic of the bigger part of the slab, so the surface with the thickness of these 400 millimeters. There I have set up the distance of the grid points here. You find it in the Edit Surface dialog in the tab Grid. There you can modify the grid distance in direction B and H. They are set up here with 1.5 meters and 1 meter. So this is 1.5 meters and this is 1 meter. And that fits pretty good here for this example. And I will use here for the next minutes just the result of this slab here. Now the question shows up how we could organize the structure that we get only results for this surface. So one possibility would be that I select this surface and click here on this button, visibility by selected objects. But that maybe has the problem or downside that you don't see this structure anymore. So here you do not switch off only the results, but you also switch off parts of the structure. So that is maybe a downside. Another possibility would be, so I cancel this visibility mode once again. Another possibility would be that you put this surface once again into a selection And then you can switch to this result panel here, and there you find also a filter function. And if you've got the surface in the selection, then you can press this button here, and you will get a filter for the results only for the surface 27 in this example. And the benefit is here now that you see the rest of the structure. So I do not hide anything of the structure. I can just hide results of part from the structure. So that filter function is also quite handy. Before I'm printing this graphic into the printout report, I could also think about how I could maybe save a little bit of color for printing. So therefore, I would like to switch from this filled graphical view to with isobands to isolines, and that is hidden here. So you find this option here, isoband. That means that these colors are filled, and you could switch to isolines, and then you get just the lines in certain distance, depends on the results, and you will save a little bit of color for printing this picture into your printout report. That is also this setting what I want to use now for the next minutes. So with the settings, I could start, or I could try to print the first picture into a printout report. I press here this button for the printer. I select the printout report, which we have created. Current view only as Windows screen. Then I use the full page width and the full page height, and I rotate it by 0 degrees. And in this option, there I'm using a printing resolution of 2000 pixels. I would say for standard printout, it's okay, using maybe 1000 by 1000 pixel up to 2000 pixels. Only if you have really larger prints, you can play around with a larger resolution, but in general, it's enough to use 1000 up to 2000. The rest stays like it is. The only thing is I have to check whether my color scale here is also activated. It is activated and it is inside of the graphic. So with the settings, I can try to print my first picture into the printout report. Press the OK button, and now the preview of the report will be generated once again. And what we see now is that some of these settings I've done are okay, but in general I cannot read the results because the result values on the screen, they've been okay, but on the printout they are too big, and you cannot read the individual result values. So we have to do some further optimizations on this printout, and therefore I want to show you some tips and tricks, and I close this preview once again. And the first thing I want to do is I'm switching off all the topics in the display navigator which are not required here. So for example, in my opinion, we do not need here these nodal supports, these line supports and surface supports, the symbols. So that makes this graphic already a little bit cleaner. The next thing I would like to deactivate here, because the lines in the printout report are maybe a little bit confusing, is the FE mesh. So in the calculate menu, you find here this option display FE mesh, and we can also deactivate it. And what also would be interesting or helpful to deactivate, in my option, or in my opinion, would be to deactivate the global axis, because I know how my structure is located just by these guidelines here. So I'm deactivating also my axis system, and this previously activated grid will be also deactivated. The next thing, the major problem which we have seen before, was that the result values, they were overlapping, and he was not able to read them. Therefore, you can do some optimizations. For example, if you just go to the result navigator, and at the end of the result navigator, you find this option here, transparent. So with transparent, you can switch this display mode, and then you will get just this transparent view of these values, and that is maybe a little bit cleaner. What we've also seen in our first attempt was that the texts itself have been too large, in my opinion, so we can also do optimization on the text in the printout reports, how the text look like. So, and all these settings are stored and managed by the configuration, and the configuration in which you are working currently is visible in this objects menu, and here in this configuration manager. So if you open this configuration manager on your system or on your PC, then you see in which configuration you're currently working. In my case, it's the standard with white background, and all changes on the display properties, program options, and so on, they are all stored in this configuration. And now, for getting better results in the printout, I want to change some options on the display properties, and therefore I'm creating at first a new configuration. So I'm taking the current configuration, pressing this button here, and then I would say Info Day 2020, for example, and I set it directly as current. So now I'm working in this new configuration, and in this new configuration I will do now changes regarding the display properties and so on. The benefit is that if I'm changing something that's been not so good or not so optimal, then I can easily switch back to the default setting with the white background. So you do not lose any information. You can just play around now with your individual configuration. So after I've created this new configuration, I close this dialog once again. And the first thing I want to do is I want to change the size of the text. So we have seen in our first attempt that the text was a little bit too big and not readable. So therefore I want to change it. And what I'm doing now is I'm using my mouse cursor and pen over the individual result value, and via right click on the result value I can open directly the display properties of these values. So I'm directly in the result tree for the result values on surfaces, and there you see here the result values. And you see here one tab for the screen and one from the printout report. So that means you can do settings or change settings for the screen and also for the printout report. On the screen, I would say it is pretty okay. It's good visible, but we had problems on the printout report. Therefore, I'm switching to the printout report, and all changes will be done for the result values on surface only for the printout report. Therefore, I have also to check that this option was not activated. If I would activate this option, then you will get the same changes here in the screen and also on the printout report. So I would like to change all colors into black. That is my first thing I want to do. Then the next thing I want to optimize is that I want to decrease the distance of the node here to the value. It's by default 3 pixels, and I set it to 0. And what I also can change here is the font size for these result values of surfaces. So therefore, I can click on this button. There you see the font. It's pretty okay, but the size was a little bit too big, so I change it into 6 and confirm it with OK. So it is now a little bit smaller. As I mentioned, it looks now here a little bit small, but it affects only the printout report. So I can apply these changes here. And one further change I would like to use is I would like to decrease the size of these dots here a little bit. This can be found in the category colors, other, and then you find here this text bubbles. That is this red dot here. I will change the color of this red dot to black and the line thickness to 1 and confirm this with OK. Before printing of the picture into this printout report, I will take now care about the arrangement of this structure inside the graphical window. So with this graphical window here, you have directly control over the arrangement of your structure inside the printout or on your page. So you have just to imagine that these lines here, these borders, are your page where you want to print the structure on. And I would like to use these boundary lines here to create printout in landscape mode and arrange the structure here on the right part of this page. And here in this part, I would like to apply or use this result panel here. So I leave here a little bit of space because in this area I will print the result panel on the paper. So this graphical window represents also my picture on the or inside the printout report. You can just zoom a little bit like this. Okay, I think that's okay. And now I'm opening the function print graphic once again. It's still the same printout report, current view, and now we've got here this option as screen view. Though this is our screen view and this is our paper here. And what I'm doing now is I leave it in full page width and full page height. But the only thing I change is here I will rotate it about 90 degrees to use it for a landscape mode of this graphic. So I change it here, and the rest is stays the same. Also, the color scale here is inside the graphic. And here we can arrange it on the top left side, so directly here. And with this settings, I will try to print a further picture into the report. Okay, and now you see that in the landscape mode, I will turn it around if you will have it exported into the PDF, that it's much clearer. Regarding the pixels, we've entered 2000 pixels for the image quality, and you have just to keep in mind that this is just a preview, so the real quality is not visible in this preview here. The real quality of this enter 2000 pixels will be visible after exporting the picture into the PDF file or printing it. Okay, so here you don't see the effect of this 2000 or 1000 pixels. One further graphic or one further feature I want to show you would be a filter of result values. So therefore, I would like to print the result, the ratio VED to VRDC, what I've mentioned also today morning, for the design check for the shear force. And there it was, the most decisive points were next to our column footing. So I'm deactivating my filter again and let all surfaces here display, or let all results show for all the surfaces. And what we have now is the problem that we also do not see which result values are decisive or which points are decisive in terms of this design ratio VED to VRDC. So therefore, you can use a special option or special filter, and you can individually set which values should be displayed and which not. And to activate this function, you can just do a right click on the result. And there you see here that the filter is active, but it seems that the filter does not act correctly. So we have to check this result filter settings. And there you see the result. So it's VED to VRDC. And we are showing now values from -infinity to +infinity. And that's not so handy in this example. So I would like to print a graphic into the printout report where I just get result values on the most decisive points of the structure. So I would like to see all values which are maybe up from 0.9 to +infinity. So that means I can enter here a value 0.9. So from 0.9 to infinity, all these result values should be displayed for this result VED to VRDC. I confirm it, and now you see, in combination with these lines for this design ratio, on which points here your result or the design ratio is higher than 0.9. So with this result filters, you can also create good graphics for your documentation in the printout report. And this graphic, of course, I would like also to print into the printout report. I'm using the same function here. Leave the values and settings as they are. Confirm it just with OK. So, and now we have 3 pictures inside the printout report. And the next step would be that I would like to export this into a PDF file. Therefore, I'm using the file menu and use this option here, export to PDF. And let's say Info Day. Confirm this. And now we are getting this printout report, and here we have our results. So this was our first results, our first attempt, where we had this FE mesh, the big result values, and it was not so visible because it was arranged in the middle of the sheet. It looks like this. And if you compare it to this result, I think it's much better. You can also turn it around a little bit. And there you see the effect. If you create your own display properties, your own configuration, then you can individually set up your printout and create nice and beautiful printout reports for your projects. At the end of this presentation, I would also give you advice to take a look at one of our knowledge base articles. Therefore, I would head over to our website, and there you find a knowledge base article with the ID 001550, and the topic is documenting of graphical results of reinforcement in RF concrete surfaces. As I mentioned before, the tips in this article can be also used if you are using steel surfaces or laminate module. And in this article, several further tips and tricks mentioned, for you can also create graphics with grayscale gradient. That's also possible, or result with such result groups and so on. So, I think that this article is especially for everyone who is using RFEM with surfaces interesting. So keep it in mind with this ID. And there you find also the models for download, and also this configuration file, which can be imported here in the configuration manager of RFEM, so you can play around with it and maybe optimize your individual configuration on your system for getting better printout reports. That's from my side. Thanks for your attention.